you are looking at live pictures of the altar at the St. Joseph the Worker Catholic Church in Kangemi. This is the scene of Friday's Mass here in the heart of Kangemi. What a difference 24 hours makes. Good evening, I'm Jeff Koinange, and this is Jeff Koinange Live. Pope Francis flew into town like a hurricane, and what a time. It looks like a load has been lifted off this country's shoulders, and that's what we're going to be discussing tonight, among many other things. Let's take a look. Let's take a listen to what he's done the last 24 hours. He went to State House, made a speech early this morning. He held meetings with interdenominational leaders. Then he held a mass at the university grounds, then went off to St. Mary's by all school. Made a speech at St. Mary's, went off to the United Nations, talked about climate change and anti-poaching. He talked about anti-poaching as well. So it's been a very busy 24 hours. Friday is when he talks to the people he says are closest to his heart, the poor and the youth. So he'll be right here at St. Joseph the Worker Catholic Church, which will be packed, I'm sure, from early morning. And then after that, he goes off to Kasarani to speak to thousands, make that tens of thousands of youth, before going on to Uganda and then the Central African Republic. So tonight, my guest is a man who shares something with the Pope, believe it or not. And I have to explain this to you because it doesn't happen every day, and the Pope probably doesn't even know this. There's an award which is equivalent, I feel, is equivalent to a Nobel. It's called the International Caring Award. So why do I say it's like the Nobel? Well, in 2011, the recipient was the Dalai Lama. 2012 was my guest. Or rather, 2012 was Dalai Lama. 2013 was my guest. 2014, former U.S. President Bill Clinton. This year, you guessed it, the International Caring Award goes to Pope Francis. My guest has been on the continent since 1988, first in Tanzania and then in Kenya in 1995. For the last 20 years, he's been involved in everything to do with peace, reconciliation, and he runs an outfit right now. He's the executive chairman of an outfit called Shalom Center for Conflict Resolution and Reconciliation. My guest, you need to meet this man because not only is he funny, he's Irish, which is even better. And I know quite a few Irish priests because I went to St. Mary's. But this man, you need to know because he's committed to this continent. In fact, he committed himself long ago when he joined an outfit called the Society
of African Missions.
Society of African Missions. I knew I'd get it wrong. Father Patrick Devine.
Mr. Koinange, lovely to meet you.
Oh, no more Jeff now, is that? How you doing, Father?
Very well.
Good to see you.
I'm very nice to be here
Good
with
to
you,
see
Jeff.
you. And congratulations on the award. It's a great award. It's a great award. You're modest. I mean, you're like the Pope. You're modest. But, you know, the International Caring Award is it's no easy feat, you know. I mean, congratulations. And you and the Pope, does he know? Do you think he knows that there's a guy in Kenya, a few hundred yards from where he's staying, who has the same award?
I wouldn't expect the Pope to know that, and I think he's a very busy schedule, and he has more in his mind than knowing that, Jeff.
Oh, but you're modest.
I'm very happy for him and delighted for his visit here.
Yeah. Speaking of his visit, I mean, goodness, this man, I like this guy. He's a cool guy. I mean, he's everywhere he goes, people have been going nuts, for lack of a better word.
Well, I think everybody is touched by his humility, his deep convictional faith, his concern in terms of inclusivity for all of humanity, and I think most of all he has brought to the table a real passion for compassion.
Yeah.
A passion for mercy, that nobody is to be excluded, that we're all children of God. We have to be very, very careful about pointing the finger at anybody or condemning anybody, and there's a need always to bring people back in. What we call often restorative justice as well when mistakes are made, that there should be mercy applied and to bring people back to wholeness so they can experience the fullness of the presence of God, they can experience a relationship of harmony with one another and a commitment to one another, and also to experience inner peace themselves.
Yeah, someone once said if you point a finger at somebody, 3 point back at you.
And that is correct.
Let's go back. The first thing he did, and it looks like this schedule is really well planned, because first he met the leadership, if you will, and that was yesterday. He was at State House, gave a really good speech. The president gave a good speech too.
Yes, I was there for
You were
the
3
arrival.
feet, you were 3 seats away.
But before going to the State House, I mean, I was extremely impressed by the way he came from the plane down, mixed with the people, greeted. I was really surprised at his speed coming down the steps. This is like a man who was really keen on being on the ground in Africa and with the African people. At the State House, he addressed some of the issues which he has developed further here today, in terms of the family, in terms of the environment. And he spoke yesterday, and I remember he said very, very clearly that it's going to be very, very difficult to have a renewal of a relationship and a renewal of relationship with nature unless we have a renewal of humanity itself. And that is critical, because involved in all these issues of the environment and so on are issues of human agency and issues of humanity, and unless there's an inner conversion, a transformation within, I do not think we'll have a big impact on other issues like the environment. I was very, very impressed by the President of Kenya yesterday. He stood up there, he spoke with great dignity, he was honest, he spoke about the problems of the nation, he spoke about issues of corruption, the vices of corruption, he spoke about the illegal profiteering that goes on, he spoke about the need for better standards, higher standards in terms of integrity, governance, inclusivity, and the protection of peace. I think that's the way he phrased it himself.
Yeah, it looks like the man hit the ground running, because early this morning, interdenominational leaders.
So I had the good luck of being able to look back on that later on in the afternoon. They showed on television the meeting with the various religious leaders this morning, both in terms of interreligious and ecumenical. And indeed the people who were there, the religious leaders, it was very good to hear their views and perception on issues and the common ground between them. The Pope also expressed his sympathy and solidarity with the people of Kenya in light of what happened at Westgate Mall, at Garissa, at the university, and indeed he mentioned Mandera. And I was particularly interested in the issue of Garissa in terms that it was a horrific incident. They were all horrific, but 148 students were killed there and many injured, and it raises issues I think that we have to look at here, all the religions have to look at, especially in terms of the religionization of politics and the politicization of religion that happens at times, because in a sense conflict is generated by religion only when the divine message of peace and reconciliation is forfeited or sacrificed for the sake of other lesser institutional needs. And we have to be very careful of that.
And I loved what he said about he's not afraid of Al-Shabaab. The only thing he's afraid of is a mosquito bite.
We're very wise, you know. Mosquitoes is one of the biggest killers still in Africa.
Correct.
So, but I know it's been taken up different ways. But it was a very nice comment about his willingness to be with us here on the continent. We all have the dangers of insecurity at various times, at various places, and he hasn't shown any signs of worry about it in his ease with the people, his commitment to addressing the key issues, and the articulation and his understanding and grasp of the key issues. Today, he spoke about the family, the dignity of the human being, whether it be the unborn, the young, the elderly, and the role of the family in coherency in Kenyan society, indeed throughout the world, but we're particularly talking about here in Kenya. And it's a thing I have been concerned about a long time, especially in terms of the cities, the urbanizations, because while family can hold on to a lot of traditions in the rural areas, I think there has been a lot of difficulties here in, take Nairobi for example, and much more breakdown where there's a large number of relationships breaking up between husbands and wife, a large number of children being born outside marriage. Street children are always consequences as well, and it's unquestionable. The family is the foundation of any society's coherency and cohesion going forward.
No doubt, no doubt. The mass at the university grounds, I mean, it was pouring with rain early morning, all the way up until here. It was literally up until he arrived. He arrived at like 9:55 because Mass started on time, by the way. Started smack on time. And the skies cleared.
Yeah, but it was just a fantastic experience, the Mass itself.
Yeah.
And
it was a great Mass. But it reminded me, I looked at that picture and I said, it reminded me of a line from the movie The Ten Commandments. I don't know if you watched it or not, but you know, the old one with Yul Brynner and Charlton Heston. And Yul Brynner, the best line in the movie, he turns to his wife later on when his soldiers are all decimated in the Red Sea. He says, his God is God.
yes.
That's what I felt, you know, when the skies cleared and this man, you know, walked up to the podium and started conducting Mass.
Yep, and I think, as he said Mass and in the sermon that he gave as well, like this is a man of deep, deep faith with a very intimate relationship with the Divine, with his Lord. And I mean, everyone, I think, sees that regardless of what religion or where you're from. And the humility, as I said, and the way the compassion comes out, and he's calling everybody. Like he mentioned issues today again about the importance of avoiding discrimination,
that was
respect
important
for everybody.
Yeah. Wasn't it great that no politician asked for some time to address the audience, the crowds?
Well, it was new in Kenya because it's rare.
Yeah.
It's rare.
Yeah.
But I think, in a sense, everyone has the height of respect for the event itself, for the occasion with the Pope, and the dignity of Mass itself, where the body and blood of Christ is brought there before the people, and the whole experience of the Divine.
After that, St. Mary's, my school.
Back to St. Mary's.
It was great, wasn't it?
Where he met the religious, men and women, and seminarians, and it was a great experience just listening to him, encouraging them in their vocation to be servants. They're at the service of people.
Yeah, because I'm sorry to cut you off, Father, because he finished his speech, walked off, and came back. And what did he say? In essence, he says, "Go and have children." Or what did he say?
Oh no, be careful there, Jeff.
Sorry,
No. He was on about them being authentic about their vocations and the need to be sure. It was particularly for those studying for the priesthood, indeed those in it as well, and that if you feel that is not your vocation, the vocation of getting married and having a family is equally as good.
Okay. Good thing you corrected that.
Oh, very, very important.
And after that, he was kissing babies all over the place. Did you see that?
Well, he has a great, the sacredness of a child from its very beginning, from conception, is very deep in the teaching and in the faith that the Pope wishes to pass on.
Yeah.
And it's from conception to the end of your life.
Absolutely.
The dignity of life.
Yeah, at the UN headquarters in Gigiri, that was also a great speech about climate change. He spoke about the war on ivory trade. He was, of course,
and even point about addressing issues of the ivory trade, elephants, so on, and a lot of the illegal trading that goes on in terms of organs, trafficking, human trafficking, and the environment. And I mean, it's a crucial thing because his recent encyclical Laudato Si, addressing issues about our common home and the need to care for our common home.
Yeah.
And he emphasized many times at the UN today the point about our common good. We must be focused on the common good.
Yeah.
And the environment is very, very important because if we look at the environment, there's a demand always on the environment, right?
Yeah.
The population is going up, right? And that creates demand. And that's very connected to conflict at times. Equally, the more we have of environmental degradation, it's more difficult for the environment to meet our needs and supply.
Absolutely.
But thirdly, and the Pope has often spoke about this, about structural issues of injustice, where the structures are not helping the people to actualize their potential, to meet their basic human needs. There's inequity, discrepancy, and so on.
Father Patrick, I want to talk more about that after the break. And also, will any of this resonate? I know tomorrow's speech right here at the St. Joseph the Worker Catholic Church, very important for the poor. He recognizes, he associates with the poor, and also to the youth as well. Will that resonate? And also, let's talk about what you do. What you do when, because you've been into peace and reconciliation for a long time, and Kenyans, we still need to heal. We're not out of the woods yet. Tell us about your experiences. Well, first we'll take a break. Are you on Twitter?
No, I'm not on Twitter. I'm not very good on communications.
Oh man.
Technology.
Oh man. Get Father on Twitter. My Twitter handle is at Koinange Jeff. Let's use mine. We'll use the hashtag we've been using the last couple of days. Pope in Kenya. Let's get your thoughts, your comments, your questions as we go into break. We are live at the St. Joseph the Worker Catholic Church here in Kangemi, the scene of Friday's Mass, where Pope Francis will come address the poor right here in Kangemi. Jeff Koinange live takes a break. We'll be back in a moment.